Welcome to the Champions of Change podcast, where we celebrate the inspiring stories of Black male educators who are transforming schools and empowering the next generation. Each episode highlights their journeys, challenges, and triumphs as they break barriers, uplift communities, and redefine what it means to lead in education. Tune in to be inspired, informed, and motivated by the powerful voices of those making a positive impact where it matters most, in our classrooms and in our schools. And now your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter. Welcome to Champions of Change, the podcast where we highlight the incredible work of Black male educators who are shaping the future of education, inspiring students, and leading transformation in schools across the country. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, and today we have an extraordinary guest who embodies leadership, innovation, and service. Dr. Malik Douglas is a distinguished educational leader and senior military officer, recognized for his strategic vision, instructional innovation, and commitment to organizational excellence. With over 2 decades of experience, he has been a driving force in transforming schools and advancing leadership development. Currently, Dr. Douglas serves as the principal of Cedar Grove High School, where he is dedicated to fostering a culture of high achievement, equity, and student-centered learning. Previously, as principal of Eagles Landing Middle School, he led a remarkable academic turnaround, driving double-digit improvements in performance post-pandemic and successfully moving the school off the high needs improvement list. Beyond his impact in education, Dr. Douglas is also an accomplished U.S. Army officer with extensive experience in civil affairs, intelligence, and emergency preparedness. His leadership has not only strengthened school communities, but also shaped national security and crisis management strategies. Dr. Douglas holds a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, along with multiple advanced degrees and certifications in education and security operations. His unique blend of expertise in education, leadership, and crisis management makes him an inspiring figure in both the academic and military spheres. Dr. Douglas, it is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to Champions of Change podcast. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you. Thank you. I was sitting there listening to you. It's like, who are you talking
Who
about?
are you? I
Who
love
are you
it.
talking about? Who are you talking
I
about?
love
Who is
it.
this guy?
All of this rich background, I absolutely love it. I've got to start out by just asking you what even inspired you to pursue a career in education and then ultimately leadership.
I have a unique background, as you could tell, but I owe it all to a person that poured into me and poured into me as a young man. Man, I come from I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Had some struggles growing up. When I was a young man, made some very bad decisions that ultimately could have led to me losing my life and being homeless and different things like that. But it was an actual educator by the name of Dr. Linda Golden in Vallejo, California. She's retired now, still around and still my mentor, but also adopted me as her own child. That pushed me to be the best man that I can possibly be. And that's how I always lean on to her pouring into me and be like, hey, as an educator, she was not only an educator, but she was a mother figure. She was that person I can lean on, that person I can call on. And that's what I want to be for my children that's not in the building. I want to work with them and push into them. I'm very tough, what I mean, coming from that military background, but I'm loving and compassionate for my children as well and my staff. So I always lean back on my why. And my why is that someone took the time out for me to ensure that I was able to achieve everything that you just read off. That I'm still trying to figure out who that guy is.
I absolutely love it, but you really, really elevate the importance of mentoring. Like that sounds like it really changed your whole trajectory as a youngster. Amazing.
It,
Wow.
it, it did, and that's very important because she got me into a program called the Tanner Project. and it was a mentoring program. And I had no idea about going to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was making bad decisions, and she got me to that program. And that program, along with her, helped pay for me to go visit these different schools and take me to different HBCUs and
Wow.
all the way from California because I moved from Philadelphia to California. Take me out to Howard University and down to Alabama, Alabama State, and then end up going to Alabama State. So that mentoring piece is very, very important, and it is vital nowadays in the schools. Being in the
Wow.
school system, as you well aware, is vital to have that mentoring piece. We can't just focus on the core academics. We got to focus on the whole child nowadays because just like me, students are faced nowadays with not having that mentorship or having that adult in their life
Yes.
that could sustain them and continue to push them.
Wow, I love it. I love it. With your background in military, actually being a senior military officer, how have those experiences in the military influenced your approach to school leadership?
I would say it allows me to be more strategic in my thinking when it comes to making decisions. Not being quick and being quick to react or being quick to make a decision, but being able to think through the process, being able to bring the team together in order to make a sound decision for the school as well. And then also looking at the organization top to bottom and determining what is needed first, what's most pressing in the building first. We as principals we're always firefighters. You're putting out a fire every day, and if you don't put out a fire, there one place is going to build up another fire, and then you're going to have if you don't put them all out, it's going to be a raging inferno. So I think that military piece has allowed me to really sit back, become a strategic thinker, as well as a team builder in order to make sure that we are being able to put on the best academic programs for our students, as well as to be able to bring things and bring in the best resources for our children as well as the community.
Wow. Before we went on air, you just really shocked me by telling me you've done all three levels, elementary, middle, and now high. So I applaud that. And you also mentioned that high school was where it was for you, right? What drew you to your current school after serving as an elementary and middle school principal?
What drew me to my current school is that again, the background that I have, being in the background that I growing up. But something else that's not mentioned into my resume that you read off and so forth. When I first, left the military and so forth, I was a police officer. I was also a police officer for a short amount of time in DeKalb County, in the district that I serve in, and I serve the area where my school is located. So I have a unique attachment to that school by serving as a police officer, serving that community and so forth. So I'm very familiar with that community. So that drew me back to the school. So I'm familiar with that school, and that school has a very rich community about it. It's an older community, has a very rich community. The children's children go to that school. So if you are a Cedar Grove Saint, you know that your children are going to become Cedar Grove Saints. So I wanted to be a part of that and be a part of that community and be a part of that school history. The school is 52 years old. I think I'm 2 or 3 years older than that school right now. So, but at the same time, being a part of that rich history is great. So, and want to continue to pour back into that history as well.
I love it. It's nothing like tradition.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
love it. I love it. So, at your previous school or at Eagles Landing Middle School, you led an impressive post-pandemic, including a 5% increase in state test scores. I don't have to tell you about the efforts that it's taken post-pandemic. So, I would love to know what were some of those key strategies that you implemented that allowed you to achieve this success?
Consistency. Consistency of practice, consistency of instructional practices, meaning that to me personally, it always starts with the planning process when it comes to instruction. If you're a building leader, if you're not effectively planning, you're effectively planning to fail, and that's how I see things. And having that consistent planning and being, not only having the teachers plan, but plan with the teachers and letting them know that I'm with them in this fight with making sure that our kids are receiving the best instruction. So sitting in that planning process, asking those questions, hey, is this a good resource? How is it? Is it connected? Is it at the proficient level? Are we challenging our kids to make sure that they can achieve? Or, is it at the right rigor and so forth? So letting them know that we're going to be there with them and then providing that feedback not only for the point of hey saying that this is something you did something wrong, but feedback to also shout out and saying hey, this was a great lesson over here, this is something that we need to go ahead and model, and let's take this show on the road. But then
Mhm.
also having a conversation with those teachers like hey, how can we grow together? How can we grow together? There's a great book out there, Total Participation, Total TPTs, Total Participation Techniques. Making sure that we have the right strategies in front of our kids and making sure that everyone is invested in our children as well. So I attribute it to making sure that the environment was very supportive for the staff. Accountability. I'm a firm believer that we're accountable as adults, not accountable as just leaders and teachers, because there's a misconception that only the leader in the building is accountable. But no, we are accountable. And I always had a saying that we have our degrees. Let's not rob our students from obtaining whatever they want to obtain. But then also making sure that the instruction is at a level of that you expect your own child to receive. And I will always ask my staff is saying, hey, if you had your child sitting in your classroom right now, would you be proud of the lesson that you just delivered? And if
Mhm.
you're not, then let's not make sure that we do what's right by children. So they knew that by implementing those three things that we're going to be all in for this. There was some growing pains, and when I first got there, but they knew that by the end we were going to continue on that trajectory of going to that higher level. It was difficult leaving the school, and I still see them as my family. I still talk to them from time to time, but it was time for me. As I always say, they were the Eagles. It was time for me to leave the nest and go do something else.
I love it. I love it. Now, data-driven decision making is always been the cornerstone of leadership. How do you use data to shape instruction, to improve student outcomes, and really to support teachers?
Data tells the story. Data tells the story of how what's going right, what's going wrong, where we need to push in, where we need to back off, and so forth. So as a school principal, and a lot of new principals do this oftentimes, where they use data as a means to as like a got you. You know what I mean? I use it as a I got you. It's a net. It's a safety net. Hey, here's what the data is telling us. Here's where we need to go. Here's where we need to increase our efforts. So making sure that if we as principals. As principals, we want to do the things that we're required to do. But one of the things that, we shouldn't have teachers just do things for the sake of doing it, like data talks. If you're doing a data talk, if you're doing a data talk and you're asking the teachers to do those data talks, what's the purpose behind doing it? Are you doing a data talk just to receive the information as the principal? Are you doing a data talk to inform their practices? You know what I mean? Are you doing it, asking those questions saying, hey, what is this telling you? Let's connect names to the data as well. Let's connect names to the data. You know what I mean? If you're going to put numbers on the wall, let's put some names to the walls as well. And then let's talk about the strategies we're going to use to support them. Something that I use currently that I'm using, and my current supervisor, he sat me down and he was like, "Hey Malik, I have this great technique. Let's name it and claim it. We're gonna have all of our. We're gonna name how many what we need to meet the state target. Okay, these are your numbers. Now, who are the students that's attached to those numbers? And then I took it and I said, okay, what are the strategies we're going to use to move from beginning to developing, proficient, and distinguished? And then, what are we going to make sure that they don't move from distinguished? So let's not only focus on the students that we need to move from the bottom, what I mean, to the top. Let's focus on the extension activities as well. And data does that for you. So, using data with a purpose, as what I would say that you definitely need to do.
I don't know if our school leaders caught that, but using data not for got you, but I got you. I love that.
Yes. Well, you gotta
I
have that
love
safety
that,
net.
Dr. Douglas.
Gotta have that safety net. Gotta have that safety.
Yes, I love it. Absolutely. So now let's talk about professional development. We know that professional learning and continued growth is critical to teacher success. What are some of those innovative ways that you supported your teachers and supported educators in becoming more effective in the classroom?
So it's more so I would look at it as like a menu. Let's get you a menu. You know what I mean? Let's look at the 5 courses. Okay, these are the things that I'm going to have to feed you. You know what I mean? In order to sustain, then to make you sustainable. You know what I mean? Like we're focusing on literacy is a big thing. I'm a literacy kind of guy. You're making sure that literacy is big. So we want to make sure we're going to provide that professional development around close reading strategy with effective annotating and so forth. Um, but again, how can I support you as the teacher? Because there are certain things that you may need individually that you have identified as a self, as a professional, and treating teachers as professionals. They have the college degrees, they are professionals as well. Asking them, saying, hey, what can I do to support you? What professional development do you think you need to go to? And how can I get you there in order to make sure that you're going to be supported in your own personal growth? So there's things that I'm going to require that you must do because as a school, this is where we're going to focus our efforts. But then also, let's use data as an example. There may be a teacher in the building saying, "Hey, I really like data." So let's get, I really want to learn more about data. So now let's get them to that professional development. But oh, by the way, when I get you that professional development, let's come on back and how can I use you effectively in the building now? Because now you want to get training on data. Let's not take it in your classroom. Let's take it school wide and let's train others within the building as well how to use effective data and so forth. So, let's not do professional development in a vacuum, but let's do it in a place to where we're supporting our teachers in their own personal growth, but also bringing it back to the building and they're building that professional capacity within the building as well and making sure that the entire building is growing and not just individuals.
Absolutely. I love it. And equity, right? Equity in education. We know that that's an ongoing challenge. What are some of those steps that you've taken to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have access to high quality education and those resources?
So again, that starts with, making sure that you're in the planning process. If you're doing that collaborative planning, those PLCs correctly, you're sitting back and you're looking at the resources, you're looking at the data, and you're saying, okay, this data, this classroom had this and this classroom had this. And we're going to make sure that we're using the same resource. I was actually having a conversation this afternoon with one of my science academic coaches today, and we were saying that it's important. We see the important. We both came from the same district before coming over here, and we were, for the longest, we were complaining about why is that everyone doing the same thing at the same time, the same way. Oftentimes, that's we looked at that as a bad thing, but when you look at it and you say, okay, if I were to leave one school in a district and I go to the same school, I know that I'm going to receive that same education. I'm going to receive the same education that I received at the same school. I know that I'm going to be in the same learning place as I left at this other school as well, which is very important. That means that we're having educational equity across the board and making sure that everyone receiving the same instruction. Now, it's important for that, but again, each community is different, and you need to make sure that each community is supported differently as well. We need to make sure we have that educational equity, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we support our each school community individually as well, in order to ensure that all students are able to grow and able to achieve. And that takes money. That takes money, and I'm kind of afraid of what's happening. Maybe coming down the pipe a little bit later, and are we going to have the same resources? And I come from a school with high needs school. Am I going to have those resources in order to provide those equitable educational opportunities to our students? Or how am I going to get creative in order to ensure that's going to be there, to make sure that my babies are going to have everything they're going to need in order to go off and be successful when they leave the great halls of Cedar Grove.
Absolutely. And that is a scare for school leaders across the nation at this moment.
It should keep us all up at night.
It does, absolutely. And it will take creativity and innovation with the deficits that we're already seeing. It's budget season, at least it is for us, and we're all holding our breaths,
Yes,
waiting to
yes.
see what the allotment is. So definitely, absolutely. Now, leading a school means balancing the needs of students, staff, and the community. Like we're always working in, we know that students are a priority. But how do you foster a culture of collaboration and shared leadership?
Having equal voice. I bring my department chairs in. I lean on my department chairs a lot because I know that, they're in the classrooms, they're seeing what's happening in the classrooms. So I have my with my admin team meeting every Monday. So that's the administrators, the coaches, and so forth. But at least once or twice a month, I'm having the department chairs coming in, and they're bringing things back to me from within the building because as principals, we can't be everywhere, and we don't hear everything, which may be a good thing that we don't want to hear everything all the time as well. But at the same time, there's things that we do need to hear. But then also allowing them, to go back and take things back to them and saying, ask those questions. I had a conversation with one of my leaders today, and she was I would say she was about 38 hot with me today, because spring break is coming, and you know what happens before spring break? Spring is springing, and spring has sprung, and things happen with the children. So there's some decisions that had to be made as the principal, and all the times, and oftentimes the teachers, they don't understand why decisions are being made. So I allowed her to go calm down. And but at the end of the day, we actually had a conversation at the end of the day outside, and I had to explain some things to her about why some decisions were, why to make those decisions. But I said, hey, let's sit down with the team, and let's find ways collectively to say, okay, what can we do best in order to make sure that you're being supported as a teacher in this building. What's best that we can support our students in the building as well, because again, coming into the school year in October, change is not easy. And going through that change management is difficult as well. Saying a lot of people don't like change and they want to push back on change as well. So, but making sure that their collective voices are heard. And so we agreed that we want to sit down, bring everybody to the table, and let's hash it out. And we possibly going to have to call a faculty meeting, and we're going to have to hash it out in the faculty meeting. So it's like a family. Everybody's not, you go to Thanksgiving dinner, and you got some people that don't want to agree and they want to argue and they want to fight. You got this group over here that want to argue and want to fight. But at the same time, we're all going to come to the table together. We're all going to eat together as a family. And we're all going to make sure that we're all fed and make sure that we're all happy before we leave out of there as a family as well.
Absolutely. I really love it. What advice would you give to aspiring Black male educators and leaders who want to create meaningful change in their schools?
Well, I would say this. One of the things that for Black male leaders, or just Black educators, Black male educators as a whole, we make up a very small percentage of educators as a whole. One thing is, don't give up. Don't give up. They need to see us in those buildings. They need to see us in the buildings. They need to be able to connect with us. We need to be able to be those mentors. Sometimes we may need to be those father figures to them as well. So um, going in, making sure that you be able to make connections. If you're going as a new principal, go in and make connections first. Build those relationships, and then also let them know that you are not only a disciplinarian, because they oftentimes connect Black males, and I think there are oftentimes a lot of the school districts going away from this, where they're connecting Black males as only disciplinarians, because we have to be those instructional leaders as well. So it's vital that they understand and they build that instructional capacity and understand how to speak the instructional language that is needed in order to be that instructional leader. So my advice would be twofold to them. Be the mentor, be the leader that is needed in the building, but at the same time, be that instructional leader learn, continue to learn, and be able to articulate what you have learned to let them know that you are the instructional leader. One of my supervisors asked me all the time, how do they know that you are the instructional leader of the building? And that's because I'm seeing in my POCs, I'm seeing in classrooms, I'm leading through communicating what my instructional expectations are. And that is what's needed for us to not only continue to be instructional leaders, be principals, but also to elevate and become superintendents and so forth.
I love it. You know, you really have had a career filled with impact and service, actually. What legacy do you hope to leave in the field of education?
Um, I got a lot of mentors. So one of my mentors, Dr. Rodney Swanson, he's retired now. He used to always tell me, he said, hey, he used to always say, Doug, he called me Doug. Hey, Doug, I got about 6,000 Swansons running around here, and he said that's his legacy. And I look back at the same way, same thing. When I leave education, which is not too far away,
Yes,
not too far away, it's very, very close.
yes,
So I want to be able to look back and say that I have made an impact on every school that I've served in, not only as a school principal, assistant principal, but also as a teacher,
yes.
and that the students that I've had the chance to stand before and educate has looked upon me as someone that they can rely upon, someone that when they see me being retired, that they say, "Hey, I know who he is because he was one of my best principals around."
Mm,
And I always believe that I always have a saying, I want to leave a place better than when I found it. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? So that doesn't mean that it was bad, but I want to grow from where it was and continue to have it grow. So leave a place better and also and make the connections and love on the kids and let them know that, hey, Dr. Douglas is always there for you, even after I
Wow.
retire in
I
a couple of
love
years.
it. I love it. I love it. Now, you have a podcast. Is it educational based, or if not, share with us what it's about?
I haven't done it in a while, but I definitely need to get back into it. But it's
Yes.
actually called the Black Male Leadership Experience,
Oh, I love it.
where we focus on the experiences of Black males, where we're looking at not just from educational purposes, but we're also looking at the experiences from home life, church life, career, and so forth. So
Wow.
I interview different professionals,
Mhm.
and we look at how we can impact not only our impact only in our careers, but impact in our homes, impact in our churches, impact in our communities, and how we can continue to grow Black male leaders that's coming up behind us.
Wow, I love that. Well, Dr. Malik Douglas, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey, your insights, and your passion for education and leadership. Your commitment to student success, school transformation, and equity in education is truly inspiring. It's absolutely clear that the work you're doing at your school and beyond is shaping not just students, but entire communities. So, as we wrap up, how can our listeners stay connected with you, or how can they support your mission?
You can connect with me on Twitter or X or and Blue Sky and so forth. I believe my tag is Dr. underscore Douglas underscore CGHS. I believe that's it. If not, I'll make sure I get it to you. Definitely connect with me on that and Blue Sky as well as the other. I post a lot of stuff on social media there. My school also Cedar Grove has a phenomenal Instagram page. My art teacher, she does a great job with my Instagram page, well, not my Instagram page, the school's Instagram page, and always talking about the great things that are happening in there. And then also reach out to me. You can find my email if you have questions. You can find the email on the school website, on Cedar Grove website, Cedar Grove High School's website. Email me if you have any different questions. I am a communicator, and I will. My wife said I will call somebody at 1 o'clock in the morning just to have a conversation with them. I'll wake up and I will, you know what I mean, because I believe in supporting others in this work and also communicating with others so they can support me as well.
Wow, I love it. I will definitely follow, definitely. And to our listeners, we hope that today's conversation has motivated you to take action, whether that's mentoring young educators, advocating for equity in schools, or simply supporting the educators in your community. Change starts with leadership, and leaders like Dr. Douglas remind us of the power of vision, resilience, and service. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to Champions of Change wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a review. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Once again, thank you, Dr. Douglas, for your time and for your leadership.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, keep pushing for positive change in classrooms, schools, and the community. Until next time, keep leading, keep inspiring, and keep championing change. Thank you for joining the Champions of Change podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join us for a new episode every Tuesday, wherever you listen to your podcast.